Thank you. Thanks everyone for attending our session. My name is Bill Crowley. I'm the head of product at Hyperwallet. I'm going to go through just a couple of slides and then I'm going to get out of the way and let the engineers talk to you guys. So Hyperwallet is a payments platform that empowers businesses to both easily support and pay an independent workforce anywhere in the world, anytime and for any amount. So when you think of when someone says payments to you, I think most people automatically think about payment acceptance, taking a payment online, in store, or now in an app, accepting payments. And but there is another side of payments, and that is the payout. So paying those people that have sold products and services, and that's really where we come in. So also with payment acceptance, it's largely been, the problems with payment acceptance have largely been solved by innovative technology companies that have built really easy to use APIs and services on top of some really well-established payment rails. And what I mean by that is Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and PayPal. Taking a card payment anywhere in the world looks pretty much the same. It's a card number, it's an expiry date, it is a CVV. But if you're talking about payouts, sending payments out to people, there really isn't a ubiquitous payment global payout rail. And so why is that? And the reason is that if we're talking about bank account deposits or payments to bank accounts, every country around the world has a different format for their bank accounts. So here in the US, you'd use a routing number or an ABA number. In the UK, you would use a sort code, and then in Europe, you'd use an IBAN. So that makes your life really difficult if you're trying to set up a standard way of paying people around the world. And so what Hyperwallet does is we're trying to take that complexity out of all these different formats around the world. So, why wouldn't you just go to your local bank and make payment and use them for direct deposit service? You certainly can do that, and that works okay if you're in one country, if it's just domestic payments. But as soon as you go global, now you have to deal with all these complexities of all these different, bank account formats, bank account specification formats, domestic and bank holidays, value dates, and all those sorts of things. So by working with a payments platform like Hyperwallet, instead of trying to do it yourself country by country, you integrate once with our API and take advantage of all the hard work that we've done over the last 10 plus years building out our banking network around the world. One thing that we feel is really important when you're making global payments is to provide choice to the payees. So like payment acceptance, not everyone has a credit card. And the same goes with sending payments out. Not everyone wants to receive their funds into a bank account. So we provide multiple choices in our platform in a single integration. That includes direct-to-bank, local ACH transfers around the world. We do prepaid cards, both physical and virtual. Payments to new approaches to existing 16-digit debit or credit card. We do cash payments to developing nations where bank accounts may not be prevalent. And then we also do some legacy stuff like checks, which is kind of hard to believe when we're an electronic payment company, but there's still some call for it. So that gives the payee or the recipient lots of choice to receive their payments. On the other side, something that's also really important is what we call payment tracker. So no one really wants to know about a payment until it doesn't show up. And then people want visibility into their payments. So if you're typically sending a batch file to a bank, you may not get a real visibility in that payment. So we've modeled a payment tracker after the parcel delivery service that you can query a payment based on a transaction code or a reference code that you've provided us, and you can see when you've uploaded to our system, when it's, when we've submitted it to our bank, when it's cleared our bank, and then generally we can predict when it's going to reach your that destination bank account, looking at things like bank holidays, national holidays, clearing dates, all that complexity that's built into our platform. And finally, before I get out of the way, we are more than a technology company. We're going to showcase our APIs that we've just launched, but we also bring all the financial partners to the table as well. So when you work with Hyperwallet, you integrate to our APIs once. Now you have global distribution for your payouts. We work with Tier 1 banks, Tier 2 banks, payment service providers around the world. Like I said earlier, it's taken us a long time to build up this network. There isn't a one-stop shop to go and sort of solve all this. We've taken all that complexity out of the way. So I'm going to jump out of the way and let the developers take over now.
Thanks, Bill. Hey guys, I'm Blair, and I'm the software architect over at Hyperwallet, and I've been doing this for about 10 years. I've been involved in financial technology, and during that time, I've had the distinct pleasure of coding and architecting systems. And at Hyperwallet, I've been part of a team that's been transforming a platform from being able to process thousands of payments annually to one that processes tens of millions of payments per year. So now I'm here to talk to you guys about our new APIs that we're releasing. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes taking you through that. And we're going to start off with a high-level overview, a real simplified 50,000-foot look at the component architecture of our system. So we have something we call business context, and this is really the brains of the platform. This is what goes and orchestrates all of the subcomponents of the system. And we follow that up with users or recipients. And these are the people that you need to pay. And we have transfer methods. Now, this is all of those options that Bill was talking about. This is really that component that handles all of your checks, your bank accounts, your prepaid cards, etc. Now, of course, transaction processing. Now, this is the component that's responsible for hooking into all of those financial networks all over the world, all those card processors that we were talking about. And, of course, we have compliance and risk. All of the government regulations, all of the industry rules out there, we've built that into the platform itself. And finally, we couldn't actually call ourselves a global platform if we also didn't handle the localization effort. This is all the languages and all of the formats. We currently, I believe, support about 27 languages right now on the platform, so you do get that as well. And now, this has worked really, really well for us in our software as a service package. But what works for us is not necessarily going to work for you. But that's okay. That's why we're here. We have went and stripped out or abstracted what is complex or cumbersome about the industry and simplified it to 3 very simple concepts that people are very familiar with, and that leaves a very easy integration. There is the recipients, the people getting paid, the transfer methods, the way that they withdraw their funds, and of course, the transaction processing, the payment. So let's going to take a look now at our developer portal. I'll jump right in here. Now, of course, we crafted this with loving attention for developers in mind. And when we did that, we said that let's make this a way for people to execute payouts and get started in that in the shortest amount of time. We set out with a time of 10 minutes. Now, I don't have 10 minutes. I'm going to try and do this in 2 minutes, but I've got a fighting chance because I've been priming myself with jet fuel all morning long. All right, so the first thing you need to do is you need to obviously sign up. Right now, to get a set of credentials, you got to come see us at our booth later. We'll be happy to deal with that. I've got my own set of credentials, so I'm going to skip that step and jump right into step 2, and that's going ahead and creating the actual recipient, the person who is going to get paid. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this over here from the developer portal, a little contextual there, and bring it on over. Paste that in there. So I'm not going to pay Don Draper here. I'm going to pay my good friend Florian, because other than being just a great guy He contributes to the open source community, and he contributes winning code to the Hyperwallet platform as well. So here we go. Make sure Florian gets all of his information in there. And there we go. So the Hyperwallet platform is now aware of Florian. So we're going to go back over to the developer portal and move down to step 3. And we're going to add Florian's domestic ACH bank account here. Again, we're going to copy and paste that right out of there and bring it back into our editor. There we go. Got that in there. Now we want to make sure that we're actually going to be paying Florian and not someone else. That would be a big mistake. Given that Florian works so hard, we want to make sure that he gets what's coming to him or what's due to him. Change his bank account a little bit there. Make sure we got what's right. And there we go. Now the Hyperwallet platform has Florian's banking information in there, just like that. So step 2 being done, we're going to go over and come back and actually execute the payment. But before I go all the way into the payment, I would like to just highlight a couple things back on the transfer method. So if you take a look right here at the bank account and the country and the currency, this is what Bill was talking about. We offer payouts to 170 countries. So this right here, these 3 parameters are really the secret sauce. We have 170 countries, 37 currencies available, and a plurality of types or methods. Those are your bank accounts, your prepaid cards, your checks, your wire transfers. But friends, please, please stay away from the wire transfers. I love them. I love long, complex forms from my development day. Those things really get me going from a user experience point of view. But please, come talk to us, save yourself some money, save your recipients some money, and let's do domestic clearing together. All right, so we've got that all set up. And we're going to go back, and now we're going to actually execute the payment. So we grab this little snippet, bring it on in. And let's go grab Florian's bank account that we just created. Put that in there. And we're going to come back and make sure that we also actually do pay Florian. And there we are. So now, again, we're going to reward Florian's benevolence greatly. So we're going to pump that up to about $5,000. Seems about right, Florian?
Nah, it could be a little bit more.
All right.
If you ask me.
We'll talk about it later. All right, so there you go. So in 3 easy steps, create the recipient, create the withdrawal means, and make the payment, we have successfully distributed the money to Florian. And now for an even easier way to go ahead and integrate with the Hyperwallet platform, I'm going to turn it over to Florian himself. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, Blair. So we saw now how easy it is to actually create users and to create transfer methods. But for that example, we already had that information from the recipient, what his bank account information are. But what if we don't know that information? And we already talked about it. Every bank account in every country has a different format. So building a form for that is quite a challenge task. So that's why we went ahead to solve that problem for you as well. So we created a simple drop-in JavaScript widget that does exactly that. It collects the transfer method information from your recipient. So how our widgets work, they're actually 100% embedded. A lot of people say they have JavaScript widgets, they're embedded, but the truth is they're modal windows, they're pop-ups, they redirect you to a different page. Ours is truly running in your site. You have full control over it, you can change the full HTML behind it, you can style it with CSS as you want. It's running in all modern browsers, and you don't require any JavaScript library. So no jQuery required, no Angular, React, or anything like that. Our widget brings everything it needs to run in your website. So let's go ahead. You have, for global company, your users are all over the world. So to create a widget, it's quite simple. You create a div element somewhere on your page where you want to have that widget to appear. You embed our JavaScript widget file, and then you just call configure. And then configure, the basic parameters is you say which style you want to use. I use here Bootstrap 3 template, and where that widget is supposed to appear. Then the only thing you do is create, and that's already it. You have already your widget. So the first thing the widget needs to collect the information about where the bank account is, like in which country the bank account is going to be. So let's go ahead. We're in the United States. So United States, the currency is US dollars here. We want to create a bank account, and I'm an individual. That's right. That's all the information we need. Now, that information here is the actual bank account information we need to collect to be able to process a transfer to this bank account. Our widget supports inline validation, so as soon as you leave the field, it automatically displays the error message, which removes a lot of frustration, because everyone knows that you have a form, you fill out that form, you click submit, and then all of a sudden there's error message. And then you have to go back, scan again the form, like where is now the mistake, and stuff like that. So we went ahead and just as soon as you leave the field, we validated against basic rules to make sure that that information is going to process on our side and give right away feedback to your recipient. Of course, if you now click on submit, it validates all the other fields as well, displays the error message for that. But you see that like it required some JavaScript to actually embed the widget. You need to register a callback and stuff like that. What if you don't really want to do JavaScript development? Like, not everyone has JavaScript developers in their company. So that's why we went ahead and created a drop-in solution. The drop-in solution is our easiest way how you can use our widget. The main concept here is you create a form, point that to any destination on your server. You can add as many custom form fields as you want. Could be hidden fields with a session token, with a user ID, whatever you need to pass to your backend to make sure that you can identify who was submitting that form. And you just include our script. The main thing I want to point out here is you have to define our CSS class called hw-form-transfer-methods. So that's now, as soon as that JavaScript file is loaded, it's going to initialize our widget exactly at this position. The other big thing is, so I already went ahead and filled out that form. The other thing is, the other methods, you have to define a callback method. You get a token back. I'm going to talk about that a bit later as well. But you have to pass that back to your server to actually do the creation of the transfer methods. In this easy, simple drop-in solution, as soon as you click submit, we're going to submit the form and pass in that token. So I go ahead and submit it. And now we're on your side backend. So as you see here on the left side, that's what the server received. That's what you received on your website. You received that hidden field, that custom field that we created, and you received that HW-JSON cache transfer method token. That token is really the secret behind the widgets here. If you now use that token instead of the actual data into your post call to the transfer methods endpoint, we're gonna pull in, based on that token, the information the client submitted into the request and process the transfer method creation. The benefit here is pretty clear. It means that you don't have to worry about security of the bank account details of your recipient. We handle all that stuff. We make sure it's encrypted. We make sure it's saved securely. So you just receive a token. So down here, you see the example. It's the same example Blair showed before about creating a transfer method. Just instead of the body with the transfer details, we just put in that token here. And here on the right side, I just showed that's what our API server received. So our API server received all the details I entered in the form. So I'm running a bit out of time, so I just quickly go over the templating capabilities. So we deliver out of the box 3 different types of templates. We deliver a Bootstrap 3 template that really, if you use Bootstrap 3 on your website, you use that template, it will look fine in your website. We went ahead, created a plain template, because not everyone is using Bootstrap 3. The plain template is just a regular HTML structure with some custom CSS classes. So as you see, it doesn't look that nice. So I go ahead, went in the hotel room last night, coded 20 lines of CSS, and just formatted it. So it's already a basic formatting here. You can do a lot more. And yeah, so feel free to stop by our booth. I can show you a lot more options the widget offers you. And I hand it back to Blair.
Hey, thanks guys so much. Hyperwallet is a very powerful, very flexible payments platform. Come on and talk to us. We're here all day. Look forward to chatting with you guys later.